DreamHack, DreamHack! Hallå? Kom fram till scenen allihopa! Hey! Så här är det va, mina kära DreamHack-deltagare. Jag har fått äran att få presentera Peter Sunde, medgrundare av The Pirate Bay. Och en stor applåd! Och Linus Olsson, medgrundare till Flatter. En stor eloge upp på scen!
Titta Linus.
Jag vill sitta på den orangea kuben.
Ska man prata engelska eller svenska här egentligen? Svenska, men det kan jag knappt. Jag är ju finsk.
Du är ju norsk säger du alltid.
Ja, men vi pratar.
Should we do it in English?
We can do it in English.
Can do it in English.
I speak English as well. So this is Linus, is my friend, is one of the co-founders of Flatter, which is a new project that we're going to present a little bit. You can talk about me if you want to.
I'm thinking we're at the wrong stage because it seems like the fun stuff is over there.
I'm too old to be famous, so.
That is true. And this is Peter, old friend of mine. He's most famous for being illegal.
I'm supposedly a criminal. Like all of you, you're criminals here, so.
You're aware that he's actually supposed to be in jail right now.
Supposed to, yeah.
Supposed to. There are some people claiming you should be in jail.
Yeah. So actually, I think we're going to present a little bit about why we're here and what we're going to talk about. And we've actually been to demo parties, as we call them, or copy parties, as we used to call them when I was a kid, a long time ago. And I noticed that I'm so old right now that the first time I was here, a lot of you people weren't born. And that kind of sucks for me.
That's true.
Yeah. But anyhow.
I think the last time I was on... No, it wasn't the last time, but some times ago I crushed in Windows XP box on stage because we won it in a competition that we didn't need it, want it.
But one thing that never changes is all the sweat.
Yeah, and the smell.
Yeah.
You smell terrible. You know that, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit. So I guess everyone here...
I noticed your T-shirt. So talk a bit, I'm going to eat some crisps.
Okay. Linus needs to sit, that's good. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Pirate Bay. Has anyone heard of Pirate Bay? So once again, anyone, have you heard about Pirate Bay? Okay, a little bit, I think. But so a long time ago when I was your age, I got my first computer. And everything I could do with it was copying things. And I got really upset when people told me this is wrong. So I'm going to show you a small video that is actually a true video that made me so angry that I wanted to do something about people that are stupid that don't want us to copy things. Hopefully this one works.
Jackie and I are on a mission to stop piracy.
If this were a movie, we could take on the bad guys ourselves.
But this is the real world. We need your help.
When you buy pirate movie and music, you support criminals.
Now these criminals are counterfeiting other things, like electronics and medicine.
Take action.
Demand the real thing.
Help us stop piracy.
Let's terminate it.
Okay, kind of stupid. And it's actually a true movie. And it was kind of weird for me to see two of the richest people in the world say that you should not copy things because it's bad, because they want to make more money. So in Sweden, there was a lot of discussion about file sharing, and I joined a group called Piratbyrån, which means the Bureau for Piracy. And the whole idea of Piratbyrån was to talk about why copying is good. And we started with copying Anti-Piratbyrån's name and remixing it a bit and making it something good. I tried joking with one of the people in crew that was from Anti-Piratbyrån before, and you should have seen his face. It was kind of funny. One of the things we did with Piratbyrån was that we started a lot of projects. We had demonstrations on 1st of May, and we set up websites that told which ISP was good and not good for file sharing. And the most famous one is, of course, Pirate Bay. And I'm not Swedish, so I can brag, because that's allowed for me. So I'm going to brag a little bit about how big Pirate Bay is. So about every second, there will be 150,000 computers connecting to Pirate Bay, asking for other people that have files they want to share. And that is quite a lot. So it means that Pirate Bay is about 75% of all of the BitTorrent traffic, which is the technology Pirate Bay uses. And that is about 80% of internet. That means that Pirate Bay is over half of everything flowing through all of the fiber cables in the world right now, every second in the world. So it's kind of big. And we never spent more than 1 hour of work per month on the actual technology. Then we spent a couple of years in legal battles. That's another thing. But it was kind of the idea to make a really decentralized system that works very well. Pirate Bay was not really famous for the great technology. It was famous because we were kind of weird. So we've been 3 people. It's me and Gottfried, who I met first time actually here at DreamHack a couple of years ago, and Frederick, who is from this city. And we got a lot of these legal threats from different companies like DreamWorks and Apple, and they told us that we're breaking blah, 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 this and this copyright law in the US. We sent pictures of these polar bears saying that we have problems with polar bears eating us and killing us. We don't really care about copyright. That's secondary to what we want to talk about. We also sent world maps showing here is the United States, here is Sweden. You need to invade us. You probably will, but do that first before we have your laws. We also published all of these letters on the internet. And this is my favorite one. This is a letter from a company in Germany that has the rights to a lot of fonts, something you use in boring office packages and such. And they wanted us to sign a contract saying that we're not allowed to use these fonts, or we can't let people share them and so on. And we, of course, copied the whole contract and reversed it so that they had to pay us money and they had to stop sending us legal threats and all of that. And we used all of the fonts that they complained about. And this is typical things that we did with Pirate Bay. Every time we got legal threats, we just made fun of it. People were really upset. And there was a lot of discussion about file sharing. And, of course, Piratpartiet was founded because of the discussions that was coming. Are you bored, Linus?
No, I have crisps.
Okay, that's good. And Piratpartiet was really, really big. And I know a lot of your members here, and I think that they have a stand somewhere that you can join, actually, as well. But this all comes from the discussions that we started with Pirate Bay. We also tried buying a country, invaded a couple of them, but we tried buying Sealand. And that was kind of a weird thing, because we realized how big Pirate Bay was when we tried doing this. Because we found that a country called Sealand was up for sales on eBay, and we said, hey, let's buy it. We were drunk, and let's collect money on the internet, because that's kind of fun. And we raised $20,000 in 2 days. But the funniest thing that we were still drunk, I think, when we saw Larry King show 2 days later with the head of Disney and Warner Brothers and some other people discussing what kind of problem there will be in the world when we own our own country. And they were totally serious about us actually being able to buy it. So they got kind of pissed. So they sent private investigators after us. Have anyone been followed by private investigators? Up with hands. 1, 2. Oh, yeah, a couple. It's kind of funny, because when you do something on the internet, it's kind of funny when people start following you on the streets. It's kind of retarded, actually. And they're not really clever, because like when they were following Gottfried around, he's a real nerd. So for 6 weeks, they saw him once. He never left home. He was just sitting inside eating pizza and hacking. Kind of funny. And Frederick, who's from Jönköping, he had recently moved to Gothenburg, and he just went to all of the clubs and pubs all over the city. And it was like this big stack of papers showing where he's been. And it's just stupid, because what are they going to find? Nothing. Anyhow, they got really pissed. So they went to the White House in the US and told the foreign ministry that he has to go to Sweden and tell these people to stop with Pirate Bay. And there was this big raid in 2006 where about 60 police officers went to our servers and took all of them and 200 other machines. And it was really a big mess. They had no idea what Pirate Bay was. They took mice, they took speakers, everything. It was really, really retarded.
They even took my server.
They took your server as well, but that's good because you had shit on it. So
that's true.
You had is the shit on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, so there was a big demonstration in Stockholm outside of Mynttorget, and it was really fun because Henrik Pontén came and he said it's good with all of these nerds being out in the sun so they get some actual, sun in their face for once. That was the only funny thing he's ever said. That's another thing. But Pirate Bay just grew after we came back online. And we've been around the world talking to people about why it's good with sharing. And we're allowed to go basically everywhere besides the US. And we're not allowed to speak with the Swedish ministers for some reason. But I've been to Brazil and talked to the president of Brazil, who's a really funny guy. He's this tall, and he comes up to me, gave me a big hug, and told me that Peter, Brazil and Sweden has no extradition treaty. You can stay here. And it's kind of weird when you can't talk to the minister in the country where you work, but you can't talk to the president of one of the largest countries in the world. But I'm going to talk a little bit about why all of this sharing has become a problem. So, Linus, do you want to actually do something?
Do you want me to do something?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
if you go back like 100 years in time, the only way you could make money if you made music was being out on the streets, playing for audiences, playing at weddings and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, he looks like Crazy Frog. Have you noticed?
And he's Kermit.
No. Anyhow, so if you want to make money, you played on the streets and so on. Then someone invented something called the gramophone.
That's horrible. Now you can listen, you can buy music once and you can listen to it how many times you want. Oh, all the musicians will go bankrupt.
Yeah, and they were really pissed about this new technology because they were scared of people recording and never paying for them to play again.
Then it turned out that people wanted these at home and they bought a lot of records. And all of a sudden, all the musicians had more to do.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird thing, and people made more money from this than they ever made before. That was kind of the thing that happened in the end, that the record actually made people make more money. Then radio came along.
Oh, now people don't need to buy any records anymore. They can listen to radio, it's free.
Yeah, and they would never buy the records, and people wouldn't go and pay for people to play in their weddings and stuff, so you just listen to the radio or the song.
But people actually bought a radio and a gramophone and records, and they got paid when the music was played on radio.
Yeah, so it turned out radio was really good for economy of musicians and artists. And then they invented the Walkman.
Oh, terrible. Now we can copy music and listen to it anywhere. That's bad because then you want to consume even more music. Ooh.
Yeah. So it was, again, the same people that said that gramophones are bad and then had wrong, and the radio was bad, it was wrong, and then the record was really, really, just growing. This whole industry was growing. But they made something else. Linus, did you have to take this crappy picture?
Yeah, it's your favorite record.
It's your favorite record.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so someone invented the CD. It was really good because you could not copy the CD. It was
no,
really expensive.
The idea of the CD was to make a format that was uncopyable. You know that, right? It's impossible to copy a CD and a DVD and a Blu-ray. You can't copy any of these.
So everyone rebought the music they already paid for a couple of times on vinyl, on cassette. So everyone was really happy in the music industry, or let's say the record industry, because you paid a lot of money again for the same music. And then someone invented the MP3, and the internet was kind of big all of a sudden. And this is some sort of big change, because all of a sudden we had no one that decided which type of music you could listen to, which type of artists that are actually interesting, and lots of new music was really popular that was never popular before, because the record industry decided which music you could and couldn't listen to. And we had a different problem as users or listeners of music, that we all of a sudden have all of the music in the world available. And the problem the record industry has is like, how much can we charge for one song? Is it $1? Is it 50 cents? And at the same time, we're going to be able to have like a memory stick in 5 years that can contain all of the music you've ever been recorded. And it's going to be the most expensive object in the world. It's going to be more expensive than the moon itself or something like that. It's really, really strange.
Have you tried to fill an iPod with music bought on iTunes? If you try, please use your dad's credit card.
Yeah, it's going to be really expensive.
Yeah.
So I was in a lot of these discussions about file sharing and copyright and all of really boring things, and I was really upset about the record industry always talking about how can we make more money because of the internet. You're destroying the industry. I said, that's fine. You should not be an industry anymore. You're just ruining people's lives, and you're taking so much money. But let's talk about the real problem. How can we make money on the internet if we create something that is valuable? And that is actually the really big difference with the internet now, is that we don't talk about price anymore, we talk about value. So we kind of invented something that is called Flatter, which we're going to show a small video from, because I need to drink some water.
On the internet, you can create or take part of content. When you create, there's not really a good way to get money for the content. And when you find something you like, there's no good way to show love for it. This problem is universal. For bloggers and their readers, musicians and their listeners, photographers, film creators, programmers, and so on. So we created Flatter to solve this. This is how it works. Every month, the Flatter user pays a small fee. Let's compare it with birthday cake. When you have a cake, you want to give slices to the people you like. Flatter helps you do that. If you've created something, you can add a Flatter button to your content. Or if you find something you like, and there's a Flatter button besides the content, you click it. Each button is a counter showing how many people are willing to give cake for the content. At the end of the month, your cake is sliced in as many pieces as you clicked Flatter buttons. Each slice is then given to the correct content creator. If you click 10 buttons, the 10 creators will get a tenth of the cake each. If you click 100 buttons, the 100 creators will get 100th of the cake. The slices might be small, but everyone's slices will all add up. Or as we say in Sweden, många bäckar små blir en stor å. As a creator, you will get money you've never got before. As a consumer, you can help creators out with just a small click. If you haven't guessed it, Flatter is a wordplay of flatter and flat rate. With a flat rate fee, you can flatter people.
And then the question, of course, is why do we do this? Is this just kind of venture to make a lot of money? And it's not. This is actually our fight. We think that the internet is beautiful. It's filled with huge amounts of free content.
And
if it's free because of Peter, or if it's free because of people making it free and distributing it and giving it away. We think that's absolutely wonderful. But there is a huge lobby industry that wants to impose the same rules that they try to impose on the records, on the movies, on the NES cassettes, and so on. And we're trying to build a system where someone can get some money for free content. And that means you can't impose copyright protection, you can't impose fixed fees and so on. So this is our fight.
So I actually believe that all of the most interesting things on that I take part of is available for free on lots of sites like YouTube and everything.
Twitch.
Yeah, and on Pirate Bay. I download a lot of things from Pirate Bay, actually.
I think he over there has...
He has a nice T-shirt. I really like it.
Yeah, but you're the only one using Pirate Bay, right?
He's probably the only. You know what we did with all the money we made from the T-shirts? We bought a bus, a city bus from Stockholm, and we drove to Italy with it. And now we're going to make it into small cubes. We're just going to crush it. So thanks for all the money so we can crush a bus. Yeah, that's kind of retarded. Anyhow, back to Flatter. So actually, I think that we need to make some system in place that we can fund things that are good on the internet. And we don't have to go through people that are middlemen that decide what we should spend our money on and not. So one of the most important things with Flatter is that we don't censor anyone. That's one of the things we've always been fighting for when it comes to Pirate Bay, is that everyone has rights, and we are going to fight for them. So you've probably heard of WikiLeaks. It's kind of a famous website, and they do a lot of good stuff. But all of these payment providers, like PayPal and Visa and MasterCard, they were really upset about WikiLeaks releasing documents about banks. So they decided they can't use their systems in order to get money. So they started using Flatter instead. And we lost some payment providers that we used to funnel money into our own accounts. But for us, it was more important to make sure that WikiLeaks was able to get money. And I think it's like 1 or 2 of the systems left that you can still use to make money. Be nice to the environment. Don't throw things away, Linus.
I would pick it up.
Good. And I'm really proud of that. Even though I'm not really always happy about the way WikiLeaks is run, I'm still fighting for their rights to do everything they do. And it's not only for big things like WikiLeaks. It's for smaller things.
You can do it for anything. You can use it for anything, not just an account, for example.
Yeah.
And we throw this one together before this. There's a bunch of casters and players using Flatter. You can find it on the net. So this is what we do. And
actually, for me, this is goes into something which is kind of interesting when you talk about piracy and you talk about value of things and so on. Because like if you go back 30 years in time and you told someone that you're going to be able to have some sort of laser thing that can read data from a plastic object and it can contain perfect copies of everything in the world, they're going to say you're watching too much Star Trek. And today, if you get a CD of some sort, people, you don't want it. It's just annoying. And that is the way that technology works. And then you have things like 3D printers, which is kind of what's going on right now, is that you can actually physically download things from the internet. You can download, like, a bottle opener that I got from a friend over here. So you can open a bottle if this works. It doesn't. No. You can download things that don't work, and also you can screw these open.
That's easier.
Yeah, it's easier. But anyhow, so if you look in the future, like 30 years, you're going to be able to download a pair of jeans, a pair of shoes, maybe a new car. And this is not, we're not talking about sci-fi anymore. We're talking about things that will happen.
30 years? Do you really think it's 30 years? It's actually, this machine, this is a MakerBot something replicator. And you can actually find one of those in the hall up there.
And you can print, shoes if you want to.
That would be pretty hard, but
ugly shoes, but they still work.
But this prints plastic, and this shows that digital copyright is just one small step into the world of something completely different. Should we still allow companies to impose rules when you can do this?
So
what will IKEA say if you download their Billy Hylla and print it instead? Okay, you shouldn't do that. You should pick some nice furniture.
You should pay IKEA so they can use slave labor somewhere instead.
That's much better.
No, but the whole idea is that we will be able to download everything that we want in the future. So we can't really say that, this song is worth this much and this information is worth this much. We need to be able to control that ourselves. And that's kind of what we want to make possible with Flatter and what we've been fighting for with Pirate Bay and everything else that we've been doing.
You probably think this is great. You want one of these at home. There are thousands of companies in the world that don't want you to do that.
Okay. So I think our time is over. It's up.
Ah.
Thank you.